Young people have no way of making it in life staying in Jamaica. This is the sentiment of a comment made on our channel. Do Jamaicans truly need to go to foreign to make it in life? Let's deeply explore this ideology and mentality.
The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me. Yeah.
Hello, Wagwan. Big up yourself, whether you're there, yard, or you're there abroad. Welcome back to another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. So in today's conversation, we're going to be going in depth to explore, is going to foreign truly necessary to make a life, or can people make life in Jamaica? It is true that there are more availability of employment opportunities in countries like the USA, Canada, and the UK. People can have access to 2 or 3 jobs or work different shifts or lengths of shifts in order to make more money. In these countries, you can push as much as you want and as much as your body will allow you. You can put it on full rev or overdrive, working around the clock, non-stop, and make as much money as is humanly possible based on the jobs that you are doing. In addition to that, there is easy access to credit to buy things before you can truly afford them. Everyone is a walking credit number of how much they already owe or how much more the financial institution will lend them. People accessing the means of material gratification is just expressly done in these countries mentioned. There are those who migrate to these countries and study to upskill and to level up in their craft so that they have a higher probability of making more money, and that means increasing their money-making potential. In spite of all that, the main factors that mark success are the inherent desire to succeed, a level of resilience and indomitability that never stop looking for ways to excel until it is achieved. People need to be in an environment where in the rough there are opportunities to be harvested or to be materialized, and where there is wisdom that they are showcasing to harness those possibilities. They need to be a readiness or a preparedness that meets these potentials and opportunity in order for success to be achieved. When masterly fitted together, the outcome absolutely will be success. The environment needs to be right, and people can bloom and fruit wherever they are planted. Of course, with certain environments, there can be added benefits to expedite the harvest and other materials that can be used to increase the yield. Nevertheless, people can prosper wherever they are. Mindsets, habits, and solution finding are all instruments in garnering success. I am aware that oftentimes when you see interviews of individuals who have pushed through the odds and succeeded being showcased on TV or on the radio for interviews, they typically are people who have left Jamaica, gone to foreign countries, and have been able to make success and strides to success for themselves. And those are oftentimes what people see. And so I can see how that also feeds into this idea that you need to go to foreign countries in order to make a life. But there are lots of people in Jamaica who are pushing through the odds and making success for themselves here on the island. It's just not showcased in the same way, which indeed it should be. In Jamaica, there are many people who either remained or who studied abroad and returned and have done exceptionally well for themselves. There are so many of these success stories. People like to highlight poor levels of education and success, especially in places like the US, where they show millionaires and billionaires who dropped out of school at some point in their education history. Nevertheless, all of those school dropout millionaires that they are talking about were very educated. Some of them went to private schools and were studying their bachelors in either great universities or university colleges before they had the spark of entrepreneurship that they then decide that they're going to be venturing out on. Fundamentally, education is the core path to success, whether academic or vocational. Jamaica has a very diverse educational pathway structure to cater for all types of learners. There are enough representations in our communities or country or on social media to be proof of success to young people and individuals who got there honestly. There are many examples to use to showcase that success is possible in Jamaica. It's only one of the days gone this week that I was in a taxi with a lady, and she was highlighting that she's a single child, and she was highlighting the fact that even though that's the case, her parents didn't send her to finish off her high school studies, and she was more than able to do her work, and she also was not a teenage mother. However, she has since made her way to get employed, do some work, get some savings, and set up herself a business now of her own that she's running and operating. And she has a daughter of her own that she's ensuring is going to school and is not missing out any opportunity to do that, because she is determined to break that cycle in her family. And so we see here somebody who didn't get the right setup that they needed and made good use of it. I know of another lady who I was talking to recently, and she was explaining to me the fact that she went to high school, and somewhere along her high school journey her parents were having difficulties paying her fees. She's in a similar age group to me, so it was a while ago. And so she did pretty much the same. She went and started working. She dropped out of school at about year 9 or 10, and she managed to get work and started to work in a supermarket where she was working as one of the tellers in the supermarket, or one of the checkout ladies. And she did that and went to evening school, and now she's working in business and accounts. That's what she did. And afterwards she then decided to set up a business of her own, and she does that. Her husband is a taxi driver, and together they now own 2 properties, one that they live in and another one that they rent out. They have 2 children, both of which are overseas studying. One is in the USA and one is in Canada, and they've been able to do all of that by staying in Jamaica. Having not been given the best start in life, they were able to do that. So it goes to show that life in Jamaica is very doable and very possible. I also know of 2 sisters. Their mother died when they were young, and so they went to live with their grandmother. And the grandmother is in the similar age group to my mother. So she was ensuring that she was sending them to school. The younger of the 2 children was determined to excel. She was going to school, doing her work and everything. The older one came home as a teenage mom. The grandmother took the child away to care for the child and send her back to school. She still didn't finish high school. She came home with another baby. Whereas the other child, on the other hand, is excelling, professional, finishing her tertiary studies and doing exceptionally well in employment and getting on with her life. Those are 2 people in similar conditions, and their own inherent aspirations and ambitions is what made the significant difference in their scenario. There is another family that I'm aware of who they filed for a family member to come to the UK, and when that person got there are lots of opportunity that they had to go and do training and retrain so that they can upskill themselves and get on with a brilliant job in the country. And every opportunity that came their way, they refused to go and do those things. They found a reason or an excuse to not go and do it, and currently they're just going around doing menial jobs in the country where there were opportunities for them to do otherwise, and they did not make good use of those opportunities. Equally, only recently we saw a video of a lady who have been in the US for over 30 years and at this moment in time still do not have the necessary documentation to be in the US. The other day we also saw one of a gentleman who was in the US for over 40 years. There was even another story of one who was in the US for over 20 years. All of these people have not been in a position where they have the immigration status to be able to leave the country or remain in the country legally. There are lots of different opportunities and ways in order to resolve immigration status in these countries, but these people have gone for decades without addressing it and doing the relevant due diligence to ensure that they have the right to remain in those countries. All of these are testament to the fact that although environment has a great impact on our performance, our knowledge, wisdom to implement the knowledge productively, and our inherent ambition and desire to succeed plays a significant part in our outcomes. To finish off, I'll share this video with you of someone's assessment of Caribbean people in the UK. He has been looking at data and comparing groups of people and seeing the disparity between these groups. And as an educator, much of the statistics that he's sharing are statistics that I am very aware of, very familiar with. And I'm very conscious of the fact that this is the reality, not just here, but just about anywhere that you go. So it can also be the reality here in Jamaica. Take a listen.
Okay, so I want to talk about Black Caribbean men in the UK because I don't think there's anyone else talking about them. And I know this sounds strange coming from someone with African descent from Sierra Leone. However, I was doing research into gender inequality and something strange happened. What I was expecting to see was a big gender inequality gap, which I did see in every other demographic except for in the Caribbean. So when we talk about forgotten groups, here is an actual forgotten group, Caribbean men. And I don't think this is by accident. I think this is by design, and the data proves it. Because while we talk about gender inequality, here's a stat that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Black Caribbean women now earn more than Black Caribbean men. In every other ethnic group, men earn more. Whether that's white, whether that's Asian, whether that's mixed, it doesn't matter. But with Black Caribbeans, the script flips. And this isn't new. It's been building for decades. Today, 31% of Black Caribbean women in the UK are in managerial roles. For the men, it's just 22%. At GCSE level, girls are scoring 20% higher than boys. That's literally the widest gender gap in the entire country. And by age 19, more than half of Caribbean girls go to university, but for boys, it's just a third. So the question is, what's really happening with Caribbean boys? This didn't just start today. From the 60s to the early 80s, many Caribbean boys were wrongly labelled as educationally subnormal. So they were placed in special education, they were written off as unintelligent, and they were stripped of opportunity. And this was systematic, and it planted a seed of low expectations that still affects Caribbean boys today. When I spend time in the barbershop, so my barbershop is mainly Caribbean, what I hear people say is that barbershops are where they get their real education. And yes, you can learn things from the barbershop. However, at a basic level, there is a barrier to entry that a lot of different workplaces have because you need a degree or a qualification. I'm not saying that's for everyone, but it definitely is a barrier to entry in some fields. But that distrust of the education system is still there because even now, they are 3 times more likely to be excluded from school. So they're still misunderstood, they're still overlooked. And honestly, that's why it's so important for mothers, for fathers to advocate for their children in school. Because if you don't, there are a lot of things that could happen without you knowing. For example, when I was in school, right, I got excluded 3-4 times because my hair was too short after having a normal haircut. Back in the day, I used to think I was in trouble, so I didn't tell my mum. Now I know that was, we'll call it ignorance, right? Because my school wasn't that bad, right? And from what I've seen, it looks like it's changed. But the reality is, schools and systems generally aren't designed to protect these boys. So parents have to be their first line of defense. In many homes, especially Caribbean homes, I'm sorry, again, just an observation, daughters are pushed to excel, but for boys, there's often less structure and there's fewer expectations with less direction. In contrast, many of us from African households, we grow up with pressure early on. University isn't optional, it is literally expected. There's structure, there's reinforcement, and that mindset, it really does make a difference. So this isn't about blame. For me, it's about understanding and accountability from everyone, because Caribbean boys aren't underachieving because they're lazy. They are just under-supported. They are misunderstood, misdirected. And I don't even think they need saving. They just need mentors, fathers, uncles, teachers, brothers, role models. Just focused attention. They need structure, they need belief, they need a community that won't give up on them. I don't know too many Caribbean boys who are studying at the moment, but if what I've said is wrong, please let me know. Because as an African, British African, whatever, I say this not to criticize, but because our destinies are linked. You know, we all rise together, we fall when divided. So that's why it's important to kind of speak up and not let people become forgotten groups. But yeah, this is just my opinion. I may be wrong.
Good educational outcomes, supportive family environment, accountability for choices and making good decisions that break generational curses and generational poverty is paramount to thriving. Young people can remain here in Jamaica and thrive and succeed, accomplishing great things. It might be slower in pace than it would be if they were in other countries, but the outcomes are more real and tangible, and this is why. When they build the houses that they will build, they own those houses outright. They don't owe mortgage on it. Nobody needs to hound them if they miss a payment. So therefore, that is tangibly theirs. All they need to think about is any maintenance that is needed. The cars they will buy, most of the times, will be without hire purchase. They own it outright. They just need to think about the maintenance cost and the other cost to upkeep having a car in their household. And many of them, the clothes that they will wear on their backs are not owing any money to catalog. They own them outright and are wearing them. Some of them get them made, some of them buy them. And so when you think about it, there will be a lot more peace as they are enjoying the delayed gratification that they are getting. Peace of mind and their quality of life, not having to worry about the quantity, the material possessions that they rush to accumulate, that they don't have the peace of mind to enjoy. So success is achievable here on the island. There are lots of people. I could go through list upon list of people who started with nothing. So low beginnings. They didn't have anybody to prop them up and support them along the journey, and they made their way to make it happen. They either do student loans or they work and study and all different sorts of things. Honest means that they were able to succeed. So it is worth recognizing that that narrative that people have been spinning is simply not true. And we need to come to the place where we recognize what opportunities are available in our society that we can access, tap into, so that we can actually realize the successes that we seek and desire. Let us know what you think in the comment below. Do Jamaican youths really need to go overseas in order to make life, or can they make life here on the island? We look forward to reading your comments.
What are we going to do for spring break?
Sleep, eat, repeat.
Really? There is a circus going on. Do you want us to go to that?
That costs money?
Yeah.
Oh, so you want to waste money when we can just go out a town on Wednesday, go up at the market and sit down for free and watch.
Watch what?
Their circus.
What that mean?
I don't know if you know what that mean. Literally, man, the market on Wednesday, circus, free. Or them stay.
What do I do? Why you say that?
Them act like Claffy.
They do what?
Them just act like them have no sense.
Okay.
Them just act like clown.
Is
And
it
clown link with circus. If you want circus, just go up there. Literally.
Is it because of all the knives and things?
And the quarreling. Literally one day I was late to school and I was walking in the town. And I see wow man just make quite entire scene. Some people literally did stop and turn up to look up to see what happened.
Oh gosh.
They're going to start one reality show.
Oh no. So you would prefer to go to that than
That
to
probably
go
sound even more entertaining
than the circus?
So a line a jump through loop or a clown a juggle something. Pan wheel.
Okay, so you think you're age out of circus now?
Even though me even think some even got a circus yet.
Oh
But
gosh.
after all this time going up there on Monday morning, that's enough circus for me.
Wednesday morning?
Yeah, Wednesday morning.
Okay.
That is enough circus for me.
Okay, well, we'll have to review the book and look at some of the other stuff that's on. There are a few other things on, but I thought that would be something that would interest you. But it's okay. I guess if it was the fair, you would have preferred that with the rides and
No,
stuff.
I'm going to fear. Love to stay at me yard. That's like what's spring break for? To sleep.
Oh gosh.
And put your hair and nails.
Oh
And
gosh.
put on your eyelash and wig.
So who put on eyelash and wig?
Why?
What, those people who wear eyelash and wig?
Yeah, that was that.
Oh, you meant to put on that for the circus?
No.
Okay. I thought that you were still on about the circus.
I'm talking about spring break, cause on spring break, the only thing with the people do on spring break, them just put on eyelash, them put on wig, put in braid, put in earring, nose ring, tongue ring, all sort of ring once it ring.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything them can do at school, then put in at the break.
Oh, I now follow what you're saying. Ah, now I
I've
see.
seen some people at my school wearing wig.
Oh wow.
Sewing wig.
They probably get away with the obvious. Maybe nobody in a seat and realize. But now me see what you mean. Cause I was like vegan eyelash.
Spider.
Oh god.
Our fan.
But I realize now what you mean. So it's about trying to do the things you can't do when you're at school.
And another thing, what kind of link to the circus? One time I did a walk in the town and I saw a woman with have eyelash. I have a push up. I'm like, wow, if she blink one more time, she'll go blow me away. I'm not sitting up. I got wondering where she's going with that. The spider just a sit down.
Oh my god!
I can't how many spiders she killed for me that day.
Is it the lash? I'm gonna blow you away. Oh, fun. Anyways, we need to go back to the drawing board to figure out what it is that you're going to do, because I've got a few other ideas up my sleeves. I will share them with you.
I tell you what me I gotta do. I gotta put on my nail. I gotta put on spider. I gotta do my hair. I gotta do all sort of random sitting when me can't do at school. Like me I gotta do.
Oh gosh.
Finish our first stack of flatbread. So here I've made some others. This one is just a plain roti. So the last one we made was chapati, and this time we just did a simple plain roti, and that's what we're going to have with some of the stew that we have from before. And then of course tomorrow I will repeat the same stew process, just so that we have replenish what we have with regards to stew. And we're going to just put on another batch of kalaloo now. Do you celebrate Passover? And if you do, let us know how you go about doing it. What are some of the things you do in addition to the unleavened bread and the prayers that you will be doing and those other sort of things? We use kalaloo as our greens for Passover because that's most likely the greens that Eliona is going to eat, and it's easily accessible here on the island. What do you have as your greens? When I was a child, I know we used to have something called bush cabbage, which is the green leaves that we could pick, and I do get those in the UK, and we use those in the UK. But what are some of the things you use where you are at for your greens? I'd like to hear about it. So do tell us some of the ones that you use so that we can have a go at trying them for either this Passover or next festival.
The Johnson family. Where I living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Johnson family, the Johnson family, yeah. The Johnson family. Where I living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Johnson family, the Johnson family, yeah. Johnson, come hang with me.
Bye for now, and thank you for staying with us. We see you in the next video.